Welcome to another explainer. Let's jump right in. Picture yourself flying in a helicopter hovering right over the pitch-black, impenetrable Amazon rainforest canopy at night. Today, we are taking a seriously mind-bending journey, and we're going to connect the absolute cutting edge of modern technology to the dusty marching boots of ancient history. We're looking at how humanity actually maps the invisible. Okay, let's dive into this. What if I told you we could literally see through the ground? So, go back to that helicopter flying over the Amazon. Attached to it is this device, and it's casting a flashing green laser grid over the trees. And then suddenly, almost like modern magic, all that thick, massive foliage is just digitally stripped away, and it reveals this wireframe ghost city filled with pyramids and roads that we never even knew existed. We call this incredible piece of technology LiDAR. It's essentially a billion laser pulses shot straight down from the sky, and it operates on this beautifully precise mathematical formula: pulse multiplied by location multiplied by time. By capturing millions of returning data points, LiDAR just pierces right through the physical barriers of nature to draw perfect three-dimensional maps. It completely reveals the invisible. But here is the massive twist in our story. Imagine that high-tech green laser grid glitching out and suddenly fading to black and white. Because, well, 2,000 years ago, the Romans did the exact same thing. Picture a Roman soldier in a simple tunic, walking slowly through a dusty field, dragging a long wooden pole behind him. They actually managed to map the physical world, revealing its unseen geometric grid, entirely without a single battery, wire, or transistor. Now, what's really interesting about this approach is the actual tools they used. Meet the ancient surveyor's instruments, the Groma and the pacing rod. You see, the Roman engineer obviously didn't have satellites orbiting in the exosphere, he didn't have quantum sensors, but what he did have was geometry. Since they couldn't exactly measure the speed of light to calculate distance, they relied entirely on the brilliant, undeniable mathematics of angles and physical space. It was purely geometry over satellites. So instead of using light, they measured the length of their own legs. 5. That number is absolutely foundational here. A standard pace for a Roman surveyor equated to exactly 5 Roman feet. It wasn't just some random guess, it was an incredibly strict, standardized measurement. They walked the land mathematically standardizing human movement to chart the complex contours of the Earth. Which brings us to their core methodology: line of sight mapping. By using that Groma to create perfect 90-degree angles, Roman engineers were able to lay perfectly straight roads across massive mountains and raging rivers. They literally walked the land, counted every single step, and used their wooden rods to shoot a sort of visual laser from point A to point B on distant hills. They were triangulating everything, but doing it completely visually. And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer difference in scale between the two eras. LiDAR generates millions of precise X, Y, and Z data points every single second, right? All processed by blistering fast modern computers. The Groma, on the other hand, generated maybe a handful of numbers per day, recorded entirely by hand on a wax tablet by a slow, deliberate Roman scribe. I mean, it is literal lightning speed up against quiet, methodical deliberation. Yet here is the absolute climax of this whole explainer. Step 1, establish a baseline. Step 2, measure angles. Step 3, record the distance. Whether you are sending pulses of light from a hovering helicopter or you're standing on a dusty hill holding a wooden pole, the core technique is completely identical. The physics, the math, the logical progression of mapping space, it hasn't changed a single bit in 2 millennia. So the crucial point is, this analog GPS method was wildly successful. 3,000. That is how many miles across the globe the Roman Empire stretched. 3,000 miles of perfectly straight roads, sprawling military camps, and towering aqueducts, all perfectly aligned using nothing more than human feet, a stick, and just sheer determination. Let's move ahead and see how this builds up to today. Today, we literally zoom out from the ground all the way to space, using quantum physics, supercomputers, and orbiting satellites to map the rotating Earth. But the absolute foundation of all of that, those marching Roman legions, they used brute force, brilliant math, and absolute persistence right there on the ground. Which leads us to this final thought. Technology changes, but human ingenuity does not. The machines we use, sure, they get infinitely more complex, but the map, that deep underlying human desire to understand, measure, and chart the invisible world around us, that stays exactly the same. So if the original GPS of a wooden pole and human feet evolved into the lasers mapping the Amazon today, what invisible worlds will our ingenuity map next? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.